Starfield is finally here on PlayStation, and regardless of whether you're playing on the standard PS5, the PS5 Pro or the PlayStation Portal, there are several essential settings you want to change to get the absolute most out of it. Now, there are a ton of settings in this game, so this video isn't going to be a massive tech deep dive. Instead, I've spent the past few days testing most of them out, and these are the settings I've settled on so you can just jump in and have a good time. Today we are going over what visual settings I think are best for the base PS5 console, the PS5 Pro and the Portal, as well as some crucial gameplay settings to help you actually enjoy the game more. Trust me, you don't want to miss any of these, so be sure to stick around. Also, a massive thanks to Bethesda for gifting me the game so I could make this video. I've actually been pleasantly surprised by how nice the game looks, and I've been having a ton of fun with it. The load times seem to be quite a bit quicker on the PlayStation than I remember when playing this originally on my Series S at launch, which is great because those load times really bugged me back then. Anyways, let's start off with the best settings for the display on the base PS5. And just so you know, I'm testing this out right now on an OG fat base model PS5, which is still going strong. Firstly, head into your display settings. The first setting you want to change is your frame rate target to 60. Make sure VSync is on. I must admit, I'm really not sure if VSync is doing much here, as I've not noticed much of a difference between having it on or off on multiple different screens that I've tested this game on, so you may as well leave it on as it is meant to help stop screen tearing. Next, set prioritize to performance so we can keep the game running smoother on the base PS5. Unfortunately, the game seems to crash in most modes on the base console, which is a shame. I really hope this gets patched soon because I never remember it crashing back in the day when I played it at launch on my Series S. Targeting 60 is by far the best way to play to make gunfights feel natural and smooth, but just know that you won't get a perfect 60 frames per second in busy areas like New Atlantis. Now, just to be completely honest with you guys, this is an older game engine that is being stretched to its absolute limit, and the game is heavily CPU bound, which causes these frame drops in busy locations it seems, so it kind of comes with the territory with a game this vast built in this game engine. If you are on PS5 Pro however, the setup is a bit different. You want your frame rate target at 60 and VSync on, but change prioritize to enhanced. This uses PlayStation's PSSR tech to give you incredible visual detail while maintaining that high frame rate. Make sure you also go into your actual PS5 system settings under screen and video and toggle on enhanced PSSR image quality to get the absolute most out of it, as this is basically PSSR version 2. I haven't yet had the game crash on my PS5 Pro, which is a bonus, but I have seen frame drops in all of them, everything I've tested this on, when you're in busy city locations like New Atlantis. So just keep your expectations in check. This is definitely the best way, however, to play Starfield on console in my opinion. It really looks absolutely spectacular sometimes. Now before we jump into the granular visual tweaks, I know tons of you love playing on the PlayStation Portal just like me. I've been testing it out on the handheld, specifically using the cloud game streaming feature to stream my owned games, not remote play. If you're doing remote play, you just follow the settings we've went over for whatever console you are connecting to. But if you are streaming from the cloud, you are playing the base PS5 version of the game, not the PS5 Pro version of the game. So your best bet here is to set your target frame rate to 60 and your prioritize setting to performance, because this is a streaming device. You want to focus entirely on that frame rate to help iron out any potential lag you might see from streaming the game. As long as you have good internet, a good internet connection is the main thing you need here. This makes the game run really nice and smooth on the Portal. Starfield is actually a great game for the Portal because it is so big and so vast. Now these next tips apply to the base PS5, the PS5 Pro and the Portal, so when you're in the display menu, we need to clean up the image. The next setting is film grain intensity. I recommend turn this all the way down to 0. By default, it makes everything look a bit fuzzy, and turning it off gives you that really clean sci-fi monitor clarity. The next setting to change is right below it, disable motion blur. Just completely turn it off. At higher frame rates, it just smears the screen during fast combat, so you definitely don't need it. Also turn off depth of field. It's the effect where things in the foreground are in focus and the background is blurred. Turning it off will increase performance a bit in exchange for less scenic views. Moving on to our fourth setting is field of view. The default can feel a little bit claustrophobic and zoomed in, so I highly recommend bumping your first person field of view up to 95 and your third person field of view to 90. It opens up the world so you aren't in a kind of tunnel vision. However, just be aware that pushing your FOV even wider means that the game has to render more on the screen at once, which can actually affect your performance. So just be mindful of that if you decide to push it past these numbers. By the way, if you're thinking about picking up a copy of the game and haven't already, be sure to check out the links in my description to grab Starfield at the best price around. Setting number 5 is under the controls menu, and this is a game changer for combat. By default, aiming feels a bit slow. You'll want to change your look sensitivity for both vertical and horizontal up to 100 from the default 51. Then set your aim sensitivity both to 50 and drop your controller look sensitivity to 20. To recap, this makes you so much quicker in gunfights without losing your overall control when you aim down sight, which is key for accuracy. It genuinely makes FPS shooting feel way better. And if you're playing on the PlayStation Portal, having this extra control responsiveness dialed in makes a massive difference for your accuracy on the handheld with a smaller screen. Now for setting number 6, we need to talk about the DualSense controller features. I know a lot of you disable features to save battery life on your DualSense or your Portal, but for Starfield, you need to turn these back on for the most immersive experience. First, make sure your controller speaker is enabled. Audio logs and ship intercom chatter play directly through the controller, and it helps pull you, deeper into life among the stars. Next, pay attention to the light bar. It actually shifts color to match your health on the ground or your spaceship status in space, pulsing red when you're in danger and returning to white as soon as you recover. Most importantly, make sure adaptive triggers are turned on. For some reason, mine were turned off by default. You want to feel the difference from shot to shot. It adds physical resistance to the L2 and R1 trigger buttons, giving different types of ground weapons and starship cannons their own unique feel. And yes, for the Portal players, the handheld supports all of these amazing haptic features and adaptive triggers natively, so absolutely keep them on to stay fully immersed. Setting number 7 is utilizing the touchpad, and the game doesn't explicitly tell you how useful this is. Quick presses and swipes make it so much easier to stay in the flow and getting all the information you need while exploring. Press the left side to switch point of views from, first person to third person and then a further back third person, and you can press the right side to open your map, but the swipes are where it gets really good. Swipe left for the menu, swipe right for your skills, swipe down for your journal, and swipe up for your items. This saves so much time digging through menus, and it works flawlessly using the on-screen touchpad zones on the PlayStation Portal 2. This just saves so much time and makes it so much easier to navigate menus in the game. And hey, if you want to save some cash so you can actually buy the new Terran Armada DLC, you need to make sure you are not overpaying for your PlayStation Plus premium subscription. To fix that and keep some money in your pocket, click the video on screen right now where I show you a step-by-step guide on how to get PS Plus Premium much cheaper right now.